Hello, my name is Sunshine. I am a witch, and I work with a variety of spirits. The intention behind this channel is manyfold. It is to help me get shit done. It is to help connect with other people and to help people find their own path, whatever that is. But it's also a place to share knowledge, to share the wisdom of our peoples. And today is a long form video that I would like to start doing more often because I prefer long form content. And so this content is all for the people who like to listen to people and clean. I'm trying to become a better organized person. And I'm trying to set myself up for success. So we are going to kind of focus on the main house with getting to clean and like make the bed, to deal with the gravity field of this chair. We're gonna go this way. Kind of like clear up along my bookcase. We're not gonna look through. And focusing, of course, on the kitchen. I am the best at cleaning the kitchen, but I'm also the best at letting it go bad. So that's what I'm going to focus on while I continue to do my dishes. Hopefully the sound of the water won't be too much. I'm going to have this lovely view of the cat fountain. Because the battery is low, and my partial intention, the other thing I want to do, because I want to see more content like this, is as a witch, I want to clean my house in a witchy way, but I want to be able to I want that kind of content out here. So any fellow witches or whoever who also like clean and organize, I would love to see how you do it. I think learning and talking about it is a good way of learning how to do it. And in addition to that, I want to talk about some of my practice. I want to bring it out into the public sphere. We might have to re-record over all of this. I have no idea how this is going to come out, but I'm not really going to edit it, so it's kind of going to be whatever that is. In order to get like into the mood or the headspace to do some really good cleaning, I prefer to listen to lo-fi. I'm not really particular, but during like the spring and the winter and the summer, I prefer like garden lo-fi, and then once that fall time hits, it's spooky lo-fi all the way until like mid-November, because that's as long as I can play it. But then I also, usually I like to light a candle, but it's too hot where I'm at to light no candle, so we aren't going to be doing that. Then I also like to light incense, but I'm not into heavy smells today. So we only have one stick going, and once it's done, it's done. Okay. So how do you guys get cleaning? You know, what do you do in order to get into that cleaning mood? Like, do you have things that you do to like help you be more successful? You know, what does it look like for like you're getting yourself into that like headspace? I'd be interested to know. And then also, like, I am the greatest at cleaning the kitchen. To me, that's the easiest place to be the most successful. And what is yours? What is your go-to cleaning spot? Asking for a friend. Something that I've started to do is one of the grocery stores I go to have these aluminum, like they have these prepped meals that come in like an aluminum tin, and they're great because when I want to like cook something but I don't necessarily want to clean up the mess, I can just throw the tin away when I'm done with it. But I can also reuse it. They make great seed tins where like you plant your seedlings in because they usually have like a little plastic cap that fits them perfectly. And then, yeah. So, one of the things I think I kind of want to talk about, and I might talk about it a bit later in the video, is so like I said, it's too hot for candle magic right now where I'm at, and I'm you know, we don't have to just work with fire in order to get magic done. There's other elements we can use. And so lately I've been experimenting with what that looks like for me. Specifically kind of getting into like powders and stuff like that. And like washes, but like it's too hot today for like a simmer. So that's not gonna happen today. I'm putting in stuff to soak the steam. And so, but I've also been working with, where's my socks? In addition to working with like other elemental magic, I've also been trying to work more with already blended herbs. For example, like I think like pumpkin spice, like that blend of spices is just divine. You know, you add a little if you add a little bit of black pepper to it and a little bit of cardamom, you have like a really easy fall-esque kind of chop. And then if you add like a little bit of like star anise and some garlic, you have like, and you take out the cardamom, you have 5 Chinese spice, which, I mean, that's fantastic. And it's so versatile, especially since like it burns really well. All the like spices in there are like really good for like being roasted, and like they really respond well to heat. But I have recently fallen in love with herbs from Provence. I'm working with the spirit of the chicken with herbs of Provence currently. And in some way, like Herbs of Provence is very similar to, very similar, in my opinion. Very similar to pumpkin spice, but it's just like a little bit different, right? And like it's a tad different from like the Italian blend, which I think I want to get into like next month. But I'm still exploring Herbs of Provence. It's so summery in my opinion, with like the lavender and the marjoram. Like it's very like summertime cottage in my opinion. And I was looking up the other day with what like that like the herbs, like what you can use like the individual herbs for, and like how then you could layer them together while using them. Because I think herbal blends, right, when we are using them, we're not only using the herbs separately, but layered together to create, you know, the layered intentions that we're having. Oftentimes, I think, you know, of pumpkin spice being like, not only is it like protection, but it's like bringing abundance into the house through like warmth and through like family and connections. Because oftentimes, like I associate like pumpkin spice with like the holiday season, whether you practice those American holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas or anything similar where you're using pumpkin spice. And you know, like those original traditions are like more about like gathering of people of who you're connected with and sharing like abundance, even though we may or may not have like stepped away from that. You know, I really think those herbs come together with that intention, you know, and it's like being protected in the home during cold times, and hard times too, usually, you know, maybe giving us a little bit more spark when we're going deeper inside, because usually, as I have understood it, like when we're in the colder seasons, when we're in the hibernating seasons, it's easy for us, it's easier for us to also go inside ourselves. You know, in the past, not as many people live primitively, some people still do, where like, you know, during this cold season, we're not as much as growing, you know, we have more time to ourselves, but we also have more time to think and reflect about like all the different things that we're doing and like have happened over the year, and it's like a good time to like reconnect with ourselves. Of course, this depends on where you are, because like if you're in a hotter climate, you know, maybe you have two different seasons. Sorry, that was disgusting. That was my drain. How gross you are, drain. I don't remember where I was in that conversation. Let me rinse off these plastic trays. I think I was. So, but like, it also depends on where you are, because some places, you know, instead of it being too cold to do anything, it's too hot to do anything. And so, you know, sometimes I think naturally, those times would have been like a little bit opposite. Like, yes, it's still cold, you know, in like the southwest of like California, but it's also it's not so horribly cold that like you couldn't grow anything. You can grow some lettuce. There are things that are okay with it. What's okay with being in the cold. So most of my dishes are kind of done. And I'm at a point where I need to let them kind of dry off. Because I don't like drying my dishes. I don't mind it, but like, I want to do other things. Honestly, in my opinion, dishes are the worst. Hold on. Dishes are the worst. And you can't really tell me differently. So that's the truth. It's the truth. But I do need to get this pot open. Okay. I made some soup the other day. Soup is one of my favorite things in the world. I think soup is fantastic. I'm trying to do like oh, that tea was real slimy, yo. That is wonderful. I have a worm bin, and they're gonna love that. Not for me though. Okay. So now that that's hot, I'm gonna let it soak. But I let it get to that. So. But with that said, I'm dealing with it, guys. I'm dealing with it. Okay. Add the water, add the cup, add the straw, add a little peeler guy. Okay. Perfect. Now we're gonna add the water. I did not forget about. Okay. Cool. Okay, that's my dishes, guys. Most of my dishes. I have 2 pots. I'll get to it. If hold on. Oh Jesus. Tomorrow I intend on going through my refrigerator, which is a little bit scary. I don't really like the idea of that, but we're gonna do it anyways. I don't remember where I was in that conversation. But moving on. But I like using, I'm trying to work with already established herbal blends in my practice currently to see how I can use them practically. But also, because I am trying to practice and learn herbalism. And so I want to understand what are the medicinal components of these as well, which will be a different story for a different day, because I haven't looked those up yet. I haven't looked them up yet. And so, hold on, I have to rearrange the Good. Good enough for now. then, now that my sink is kind of cleared out, I'm going to wipe down my counters. I technically have laundry I also need to get to. I have laundry that I need to hang up. But we'll get to that one. And so I want to experiment with how I utilize some of these herbs, the herbal blends that already exist. I have mentioned, I think, in this video that I do currently use herbs of Provence as like a way to honor the chicken spirit that I've been working with lately. I do a lot of spirit work. When I was 19, I had like this almost like out of body experience, or like a almost like an I don't remember what I said, but like an out of body experience, like good enough. And so I do think that currently is a part of how I see herbs of Provence as like protective and fertile, but also like abundant, thinking more of the chicken versus the rooster, although like chicken and the rooster kind of the same thing. I know they're different, but they're also kind of the same. The head. Was talking about something else, but we're moving on, I guess. And so I'm working currently with the spirit of the chicken. I'm really enjoying my work with it so far. I'm learning a lot. Sometimes I think it's like I work with all sorts of beings, all sorts of this fall plate. Ooh, that might fall. Let's shift that. Okay, put that right now. Look at that. Don't get knocked over the cats. Okay. From like, I work a lot with the infernal, and I do like angelic work a little bit, and I currently am like doing a little bit of saint work. I also work with common, the practice, the deities from Celtic and Greek pantheons. But like I really think I'm moving more into like an animalistic practice. Like I always have, but like never in this way. And so I am excited to explore other animals. Part of my goal is in like the next 2 years or so. So I'm originally from Alaska, and my family often goes on moose hunts. And I would love to be able to participate in that and really get down into like not just the physical aspect of it, but the spiritual aspect. I'd like to get some moose knuckle bones, because that sounds cool. And really work with that spirit that I am most familiar with. You know, in the book, I think it's like Amberlynn the Mage. I'll have to like double check that title. But one of the things that I took apart from it, that I have walked away with, that it's important to work within your bloodline, and that means to me like a couple different things. It means like the people who you're born with or to, from, so like your ethnicity, but it also means the people from where you're born from, so being born in America, but also being born in Alaska, so like America has its own energy, right, which has changed and morphed over time, but like the basic idea is like freedom, and in my opinion, it's a very Luciferian culture. You know, if you really think about it, like I know, like the quote unquote pilgrims were like Christians, but they wanted to take, like they thought that their religion was the right religion. Is that not the same thing as Lucifer being like, I don't agree with you, God? Is that not the same thing? And it wasn't just that, but it's also like breaking away from like tyranny and the monarchy, right? I think it's very much a Luciferian idea, which is it's really interesting, especially since like we have the Lady of Liberty holding up the light to liberty, and like if you know like anything about what like Lucifer stands up for, it's really, you know, bringing light to the truth, you know. He also had his own free will, and he used it. So, I don't know. Even though it says under God, did we ever really determine which God we were under? With that said, I mean that might be a deep rabbit hole we can go down another day. Cool. I have like most of my counter kind of wiped down. That's fantastic. And so being able to work with like moose energy, or like spirit of like Alaska, so not just working with like working, so like the seasons there are very different from the seasons where I am now, and I think that's true for any place that you are. But also, I was talking about something else. That was a tangent. I'm gonna spray that down with vinegar. I love cleaning with vinegar. Let it air dry. So I was talking about different bloodlines. So I also think, so it's not just the people you're born into, but like it's your ethnicity, but it's also like the place of where like you're from. But it's also like the both the like all the things that you do. And what I mean by that is like, you know, if you're like a photographer, like, you know, all the photographers that came before you, like that's a lineage, right? Like we know and like have experienced photography in a certain way, and we've built upon it with like the tools that we can use and the different techniques, like over time. You know, like artists have been like doing their thing for like how long, but we have so many like people who've like done this before, and we use the techniques that other people have done to replicate great master works. But this also goes into like then like religion and theology, where we're connecting then with whoever like the like astounding people who had the miraculous ideas, who had their deep divine connections with whatever spirit or theology that they were connecting to, in my opinion. And so, like, yes, we stand on their shoulders, but we're also building, you know, a treasure chest of tools to use. And so, I think that is just as much a lineage as anything else, because, you know, when we're talking about, like being born into something, it's not just like a physical birth, like it's an initiation. It's going through like the process of being certified, you know. And sometimes that's, you know, more like factory, right? It's more cesarean. But other times it's more like, you know, a little bit more primitive, where we're writing down on sticks. And so, I really am embracing this journey so far. Cool. I have paint my house on my countertop. Good. I need to know the progress, and I'm really happy about that. Okay. We are going to make some scrap piles in a hallway where we can't see them for a moment. Because ew, gross. Trash is gross. Okay. And I'm going to go to the trash later this evening. And so then my next question for you guys is like, next question is where did I put my grabby guy? Do you guys know where I put them? Can you find blue for me? How I found out, showing the process of discovering these things, because I think where it is typically a private affair, it should be happening in the dark. I think some people don't know how to make their own thing, you know, their own path, their own, like how to understand, like, both connecting with yourself for inspiration, but also connecting with the spirits that you connect with to create that. I am putting it outside for a couple different reasons. I am trying to, like, expand what it is that I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Maybe I need to wash that. But also, like, I'm not gonna lie, I like it when people, like, I love looking at, like, witchy tours and, like, witchy houses. I like knowing what all you guys got, and being inspired, but also being able to be like, oh, my practice is so different. You know, being the same and being different are both fantastic things. Okay. I'm going to throw that out, because we don't need it anymore. You can't tell me that we do, because we don't. So, now I'm going to sweep a little bit. Grab my gun. Okay. It's doing real good, guys. This is going very well. I'm very happy with it. Thanks for helping me out and getting something done. I'm sweeping. I'm not just saying I'm sweeping. I'm actually sweeping, guys. So then I guess my next question, kind of a little bit for you guys, is like, so what do you guys, if I may be so bold as to ask, like, what bloodlines do you think you come from? You know, that maybe aren't commonly thought of like bloodlines, you know? What is your lineage? What, and then what ways have you changed from like what we've done before to what it is we're doing now? You know, how does yours look the same and how does it look different? You know, what are the hiccups you have? And what are the things that like really like motivate you and in order like to continue practicing the way you do? How have you noticed like your evolution through it? And that can be anything. I don't believe in like one true religion. Well, I kind of do. I think everybody has their own religion, but I don't think it's ever going to look like anybody else's. I think even in Christianity, we should be praying to God in a different way. I don't think it should look the same, you know. So, well, I can't say I'm not Christian, because technically, I kind of missed the track can on that. Dustpan. Shit. Let's try that again. I am technically baptized as a Catholic, but I do blasphemous things all the time. So, okay. Good. Okay, we're going to open up the bag a little bit more. Damn it. Go where I tell you to. There we go. But I think that idea is really besides the point. You know, do whatever you need to do, okay? Okay. And then, one of the other things I like to do, I typically like to try to do this Monday, but it's not Monday, it's Thursday. I don't know if you know this, but it's Thursday all day today, at least at this point in time, here and now. One of the other things I like to do is change out my dish towels, or hand towels. A game changer for me. Game changer. Is putting one on the handle of my refrigerator. And I really like it because whenever I have, like, I'm going in and out of the refrigerator while I'm like cooking or doing food prep, and I have something on my hands, all I gotta do before I reach into the refrigerator is like wipe my hand on that towel. And yes, it gets gross and disgusting. But that's okay. Okay. Going on 40 minutes. Great. It's wonderful. Okay. I kind of need to do the other half, but we can wait. I think what I'll do now is kind of do like on a weekly basis. I like to like deep clean my sink, and so even though I have a pot in like one half of my sink, I can get the other half of it now. Okay, whatever. We're gonna ignore it for right now. So what I like to do, put stuff away. I like to I like to use a combination of different things, and no, we're not really supposed to mix our own chemicals, so don't do this at home. You might kill yourself. Probably not, but I don't know. Don't sue me. Don't do as I do. So what I like to do to like clean my kitchen sink is I like to mix some I sprinkle. Let me get my hot water going in my kettle. It needs to be higher than that. Hold on. Let me turn it up. Okay, it's all the way up. So I like to use a little bit of dish soap, whatever that is for you. Not gonna lie. My favorite scent is Miss Mayer's Bakery Spice. But you know, use what you got. And then I like to sprinkle a little bit of depends what I have on hand. But I'll either use borax or I'll use baking soda. I live near like a bulk food provider, and you can get a giant bag of baking soda. And so I scrub those two together. The baking soda acts both as an odor neutralizer, but also as an abrasive. So it's polishing the sink while I rub it all over, you know, the ceramic foundation of it. And then I grab the sink liner, not the flame catcher guy, and then I also get inside the drain a little bit. Sometimes I'll even get the back. The drain plug. And then once the water has boiled, I will allow for hot water to fill the sink. To hopefully give it like an additional little bit of cleaning power. A little bit of extra sanitation. That was my cat. Their name is Honey Bun. Super cute cat. It's taken me a long time to gain their trust. They're a very fierce cat. Very, well, we talked about a whole bunch of different things. So anyways, so one of the, so because I'm witchy, kind of going back to that topic, one of the things I like to do is I like to add a little bit of craft to whatever it is I'm doing when I can, even though like everything we do is magic, guys. I don't know if you know that, everything we do is in fact magic. And so I've been working the mix I have today in order to help bring in abundance, to help bring in protection, to help bring in the chicken energy, because again, this is what I've been working mostly with that, has been herbs of Provence, which has parsley, which can be used in money, and it's an herb that's sacred to Saint Pancras, Pancras, who is the patron saint of boundaries, but he also helps bring good fortune upon you. But it's also been known to help with protections and exorcisms. It is in the carrot family. If I am correct, which I might not be, it's it's the top of parsnips, which is like a white carrot. Very good. I have a soup that I really like for the springtime that I make with it. Well, I make it whenever I want, but it is commonly like a spring soup. And then we have majoram, which I think was used in love. We have rosemary, which is very protective, but it's also good at bringing in information and knowledge. And it's kind of a really good evergreen in a way. It's a very nice bushy plant. We have lavender, which helps calm places down, or it can be stimulant, depending on where you are in that. Pouring hot water into the sink. Okay, cool. We're gonna let that sit for a moment. We have thyme, which deals with protection, but it also helps with clearing your throat. So it's a good throat chakra kind of herb. So is sage. Sage and thyme and honey. If you can do an sage and thyme infusion, that's really fantastic. An infusion with a honey infusion. And then Herbs of Provence also has, I wrote it down, it has tarragon, which wasn't really in any book that I had, and I don't really know it as well. Majoram and tarragon are kind of new plants to me. I know they existed, but they haven't really been in my wheelhouse to use. And so, from what I've read, it's kind of known as a little dragon. I think it's part of the sunflower family, so it's also been kind of correlated and related to mugwort and sunflowers and wormwood. So very mystical plants, very much in if I was to relate them to kind of the tarot cards, I would say the Hierophant would be a good image that kind of correlates with the Asteraceae family, where it's all about higher stuff, It's all about like connecting with more of like the sky, more of the ethereal realm, just a little bit. You know, if you have like your mugwort, like we're going into dreams and stuff like that. If you use your like angelical or your celery, like you're going into like psychic protection and stuff like that. If you go into wormwoods, like it's very much a visionary plant. And like sunflowers, like it's drawing in that sunshine. You know, it's called a sunflower for a reason. Then you also have like the little daisies, which are just like little maidens in the field. So I'm learning about tarragon, and I think it's called like the little dragon. It can be a little bit like mint, where depending on where it is that you live, it can take over your garden, which is good in some ways, because like if something's taken over your garden, that means like you can dig it up ferociously and use it. So it's used very much because it's considered like a dragony kind of plant. It's also used in like protection and stuff like that. And then I can't look at my notes right now. I think sage is part of herbs of Provence, so we get that like protection and stuff like that. We get in my opinion, sage is connected with spirits to some degree, to helping like both conceal them, but also to allow for them to have movement. I think that's it I think there's only like 7 herbs in there. Like the thyme and parsley and rosemary and marjoram and tarragon. I don't know if I said parsley already. Damn it! So I have herbs of Provence. I am also using potato starch as like an expander, as like the kind of like the base a little bit of the powder. I know lots of people like to use arrowroot powder or cornstarch powder, but I'm using potato powder with the intention of connecting with my lineage, which loves potato. But also, because the potato is technically an American plant, gifted across the seas by the Dene people, you know, it's also connecting into that energy a little bit, since the Dene are very much, you know, the blood ancestors of the land that I am on. And so I want to honor both of those and bring both of those into my practices. And then I have cinnamon because girl needs some money. And so I'm wanting to grow more abundantly. And so what I think I want to do, this might be foolish. Sometimes we must endure foolish endeavors in order to learn, right? And there is no excitement without going into the unknown. It is when we are about to step off the precipice into what looks like an eternal darkness that we do find that feeling of falling, which, I mean, it is kind of thrilling. But my point is I'm going to sprinkle some of this mixture, because again, I don't really want to put it into a candle. And so I'm going to try and show it onto my screen. Got this mixture here. Again, herbs of Provence, potato starch, and cinnamon. But you can use your own blend. You know, you could use pumpkin spice. What I think I'm wanting to do is I'm going to sprinkle it all over my coffee pot that I just cleaned off, because why not? And then we're going to like kind of spread it around. We're going to let it sit. energy of the dust and the powder can kind of set in. And then we're going to wipe it off again because we are slaves. We're kind of snuffy up. Okay. We'll deal with this stuff tomorrow. We're going to clean them with it today. So one of the other things I intend on doing is I don't know if we're allowed to use foul language on this platform, but I'm going to use them. I am a little bit of a whore for Halloween. I love Halloween, and I love decorating. If I had to tell you guys a secret, it would be that I am goth on the inside. Super goth. But you would never know because it's deep on the inside. And with that said, and so what I intend on doing, because I don't know if you guys know this, but it's cool, code orange out there. Halloween is popping off for 2025. And because I love Halloween all year round, but it doesn't have to be in your face all year round, I am wanting to do a little bit of a house makeover. I have segregated my decorations for the house into 4 seasons. For fall, which in my opinion is the most important time of the year. So like late August to like early December, we have the season of death and destruction and rot. You know, allow for them worms to start like crawling in and consuming, you know, flesh of the bone. And so, but then in winter we have the season of taking that decay and turning it into something kind of alive, like mushrooms. So I like to decorate with like forest kind of things and mushrooms. And then for spring we have like little flowers coming up. You know, I love some Victorian flower shit. You know, I think the Edwardian Art Nouveau period was fantastical and wonderful, and if I could, which I technically can, I would totally decorate in that. Think like, well, Art Nouveau, like Little Peter Rabbit, kind of cottage-esque style. And then in the summer times, it's all about the frogs and the toads and the sunflowers. And then we repeat. But with that said, kind of going back to like the original statement, I really think it is important, well, to reward myself for my cleaning endeavors. I would like to restock and rehome some of the things that I already have. Like I have some cups that I'd like to upgrade into like Halloween cups. And I want, and like it doesn't have to be Halloween all year round, but like we can make it work. One of the favorite things that I like to do, especially with some of my more decorative, kind of, hold on, when I'm feeling extra creative about reinvigorating my kitchen, I like to match 2 different towel sets. So we have, oh, that's really close. We have this floral print, which is great for like summertime vibes. And then we have this like dark etymology kind of cloth, right? And I figure, like, it doesn't really matter how you mix them, although one is definitely smaller than the other. But in my opinion, hold on, I gotta move that. It's in my way. But I find that, like, these two, like, they go well together because you have the black and the white, but it's also, like, butterflies and flowers. So, and I'm trying to do more of that where it's like, yes, there are different patterns, but, like, the moths came out, like, last Halloween. They're a Halloween towel. And so, but it's, like, you would never really know, right? You know, if you pair them well, like, anything Halloween could just be, like, you know, dark academia or whatever that aesthetic is. Okay, I need the hot water has been drained from the sink. I'm also going to put my towel back under the sink. My spiders are also starting to, I have some house spiders that I love dearly. They make me look beautiful days. Kinda. Okay. One sink is clean. I don't know where I was in the conversation. So, so I've let the powder sit for a little bit. Now I'm going to wipe it off because I understand. And I'm going to say something like, as this powder of home, of love, of the spirit, of good, the good house spirit, of the chicken, I thank you and invite you and feed you into my kitchen, into my home, into the center of my home where things move. And as this powder moves down the drain, allow for any material that it collected, any energy that is not helpful to me, allow for it to be removed. Okay, and that's good enough for it right now. So that's probably going to be it. I do have more I got to do. I really have actually, like, this has been really helpful. Or maybe, probably won't. Okay, I can make my bed. Lie to you. I lied to you guys. So I'm going to make my bed. I also, what are, I don't know if I've already asked this, but if I have, I'm asking it again. So you are allowed to answer. So my question to you guys is, like, what, like, already made herbal mixtures do you love to work with? You know, tell me the truth, guys. Tell me the truth. Don't lie to me. Tell me, like, and why? Why do you, like, you know, what is it that draws you to them? Like, what do you love about them? Like, do you have, what connections do you have? Like, why are you using this herb? The blend? You know, is it one that you created? You know, and then, like, how do you incorporate all that into your magic? So as I make my bed, I like to spray down the inside a little bit with some then make it to bed, and that's where I'd be okay with it. Going this way, guys. Excuse me. Oh, that. Okay. So, one other thing that I really need to get done. I need to do it now, or I'm not going to do it. And I've been telling myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. For weeks now. I need it clean up now. If I'm going to use you guys, excuse me. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Metaphysical. I'll let it sit for a moment. I'm only going to do half my kitchen today. That's okay. Did an initial white count, but definitely needs a second going. We might do this in chunks. Ooh, that's my little black cat. Her name is Jezebel. She's probably gonna knock something over. She is sweet, but she's spicy. Alright. You know, I might do a part 2. I don't know if I'm... I need to take a moment. We'll stitch these together. No problem, yo. That would be a cute idea. So the idea, I'm going to tell you before I get off here. The idea that, like, just floated into my head would be to, like, after I'm done, like, cleaning my oven with chemicals, because it's gross and I've been real bad at not cleaning it. Would be then to kind of do like a little itty bitty kind of blessing with like a little bit of a tray with some water, sprinkling my herbal mixture to allow for it to have some like steam, to like fill my just have the steam fill the oven, to fill the house. That would be really good. So I'll probably come back with you later, maybe tomorrow in the morning. I don't really know. I'll figure it out. This might be posted on Friday.